soft snap of a small okra pod, followed by the slow drip of a strainer. Tonight, we'll coax silk from a single handful of pods. In about an hour, if you follow along at a gentle pace, you'll have 3 small things: a warm single-cup mucilage broth to sip or fold into a bowl, a tiny jar of quick pickled okra to brighten a meal, and a cooled okra hand slip for a short, mindful glide across tired hands. If you're curious about the full written recipe card and a safety checklist, you'll find them in the episode notes. Ready? Let's be slow about this.
Welcome back to Earthy Remedy, where nature's wisdom becomes everyday wellness. I'm Fiona. Tonight's episode is small batch, low waste, and deeply sensory. We'll start with a short market story, then look at the plain kitchen science of mucilage, and then I'll walk you step by slow step through each of the 3 projects. I'll name exact measures, timing, and safety reminders so you can cook along if you like. And if you just want to listen, that's absolutely fine too. A gentle subscribe invite. If you enjoy these rituals, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next quiet craft.
A small kitchen problem. Picture this: a neighborhood market at dusk. The vendor rinsing a modest pile of green pods into a colander. They brush away a few brown tips and hand you a small bundle as if it's nothing. But you know you paid for every one of those pods, and you don't want a single thing to be wasted. You bring them home and wonder, what can I make with just these few pods? Not a whole batch or a casserole, just a tiny rescue that honors them. That little thrift, that's the beginning of tonight's ritual. It feels practical and a touch luxurious at the same time, doesn't it? Segment 2, plain science and tradition. Let's break this down. What is mucilage? In the simplest terms, mucilage is a plant polysaccharide, a sticky, water-loving compound that thickens and gives a soft mouthfeel. You've met it before if you've cooked beans, used chia seeds, or made okra dum in a gumbo. The effect depends on 3 simple things: how much plant material you release, how much heat you apply, and what else is in the liquid. Salt, acid, or fat will change the texture. Heat tends to release more mucilage, making things silkier. High acid can tighten textures and sometimes reduce that slipperiness. Salt enhances perception of texture and flavor. The idea here is not to make something slimy and heavy, but to coax a gentle silk that adds mouthfeel, a culinary trick to make small dishes feel complete. Who this suits tonight. Quick cautions in plain language. If you know you have an allergy to okra or a related sensitivity, sometimes tied to latex fruit cross-reactions, please skip the topical or tasting steps until you're confident. If you have any medical questions, check with your care provider before trying topical applications. Tonight, we're in culinary territory and sensory ritual, not medical treatment. Small note, if you have very sensitive skin, plan to do a 24-hour patch test before any hand slip use. I'll walk you through that procedure later. Introduction to the remedies. Here's what we'll make and roughly what they yield. Mucilage broth, about 1 cup, roughly 250 milliliters. Warm, lightly seasoned, and silky. Quick pickle, a single 4-ounce jar of crisp pickled okra spears, bright and vinegary. Cool hand slip, 60 to 120 milliliters of well-strained cooled mucilage, diluted to a comfortable glide, meant as a short, mindful tactile pause. I'll also offer substitutions and a few optional ingredients as we go. Segment 5, Recipe Walkthrough. I'm going to read each ingredient list slowly. Pause after each item if you need to write it down. We'll start with the mucilage broth. Mucilage broth. Ingredients. Read slowly. 1 cup of water, that's 250 milliliters. 3 to 4 small okra pods, washed and thinly sliced. A pinch of salt, about 1/8 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, or 1 teaspoon of low-sodium soy sauce for balance, optional, depending on whether you want bright or savory. Optional, a small pinch of freshly cracked black pepper, or a tiny pinch of ground turmeric for color. Substitutions. If you don't have fresh okra, dried okra powder will change texture. Use less and expect a different mouthfeel. If you're avoiding citrus, use a splash of vinegar instead. Mucilage broth. Equipment. You'll need a small pot, a spoon, a fine sieve or cheesecloth, a measuring teaspoon and cup, and a mug. Optional, a small thermometer if you like to check temperatures. Mucilage broth, step by step. Step 1. Pour 1 cup of water into your small pot. Turn the heat to medium-high. Step 2. While the water warms, slice 3 to 4 okra pods thinly. Thin slices release mucilage faster. Notice the small green ridges and the way the seeds sit inside. Step 3. When the water reaches a gentle boil, add the sliced okra and the pinch of salt. Reduce the heat to low so the liquid is at a gentle simmer. Step 4. Simmer for 8 to 12 minutes, stirring once or twice. You'll see the water gain a slightly viscous sheen and perhaps a faint cloudiness. This is the mucilage releasing. Step 5. Remove from heat and let it cool slightly for a minute or 2. Step 6. Strain through a fine sieve or cheesecloth into your mug. If you want a silkier result, double strain. Step 7. Add 1 teaspoon lemon or soy. Stir, taste gently. Start with a fingertip sip to check seasoning and temperature. If the broth is for sipping, cool until comfortably warm. If you're folding it into a small bowl of stew or grain, use it while still warm. Common mistake to avoid, boiling too vigorously. If it boils hard, you'll risk a different texture and more evaporation. Aim for a slow bubble. Now the quick pickle. Ingredients: 1 small sterilized 4-ounce jar, 6 to 8 small okra pods, trimmed and sliced into spears lengthwise, 120 milliliters of vinegar, apple cider or white vinegar, both work, 60 milliliters of water, 1 teaspoon sugar, half a teaspoon salt. Optional, 1 small garlic clove smashed, a pinch of red pepper flakes, a sprig of dill or a small bay leaf. Quick pickle. Equipment: a small pot for the brine, a jar with lid that has been washed and warmed, a spoon, and a funnel if you have one. Quick pickle, step by step. Step 1. Place the sliced okra spears into your clean 4-ounce jar. Step 2. In the small pot, combine 120 milliliters vinegar, 60 milliliters water, 1 teaspoon sugar, and half a teaspoon salt. Bring the brine to a gentle simmer. Do not boil hard. Step 3. If using garlic or dill, place it into the jar with the okra. Step 4. Pour the hot brine over the okra in the jar, leaving a little headspace. Tuck in any floating pieces so the brine covers the okra. Step 5. Seal the jar and let it cool on the counter until it reaches room temperature, about 30 minutes. Step 6. Refrigerate for at least 2 hours before tasting, though it improves after sitting overnight. Your quick pickles will keep refrigerated for 7 to 10 days. Tip: if you like extra crunch, keep the spears on the thicker side and don't overslice. Now the cool hand slip. Ingredients: 60 to 120 milliliters of well-strained mucilage. That's roughly 1/4 to 1/2 cup. If you made the broth, you can reserve some before flavoring. Optional, 1 teaspoon vegetable glycerin for a silky feel, though plain mucilage diluted with cooled boiled water is fine. Equipment: a bowl, fine sieve or double-layered cheesecloth, a small clean container, and a towel for any spills. Cool hand slip, step by step. Step 1. Collect your mucilage by gently pressing the cooked okra in the sieve so the viscous liquid drains into a bowl. Step 2. Double strain through cheesecloth to remove any particulate matter. This gives you a clear glide. Step 3. If the mucilage is very thick, dilute with cooled boiled water until it feels like a thin syrup. Start with equal parts mucilage to water and adjust. Step 4. If you choose, add 1 teaspoon glycerin to enhance slip. Stir gently. Step 5. Always test temperature on the inner wrist before applying. Make sure it's comfortably cool to warm, not hot. Step 6. Perform a 24-hour skin patch test on the inner forearm. Apply a small pea-sized amount, cover with a bandage if you like, and wait 24 hours for any sign of irritation. Also do a fabric patch test. Apply a few drops to a scrap of your towel or fabric to see if it leaves a stubborn stain or sticky residue. Step 7. If the patch tests are fine, pour a small bowl of the slip. Dip your hands and glide for 2 to 5 minutes. This is a short tactile ritual. Then rinse or pat dry. Do not apply to broken or inflamed skin. Sensory moment. If you're cooking along and you have a small spoon of the warm mucilage broth, pause now. Notice the warmth in your hands, the aroma of green okra and lemon or soy. Notice the way the liquid feels on your tongue, that gentle silk. If you have the quick pickle sealed, notice how bright the brine smells through the glass. These small moments ground the practice. This is the point of a slow craft. Segment 6. Storage and serving tips. Label your jars with the date. Refrigerate mucilage broth within 2 hours. Use within 48 to 72 hours. Quick pickles keep for about 7 to 10 days in the fridge. If a jar smells off, shows fizz, or looks cloudy in a way that seems unexpected, discard it. For serving, the broth is lovely as a warm sip before a small evening meal, or fold it into a tiny bowl of grains or soup for extra silk. The quick pickle is a bright garnish. Use sparingly on salads, bowls, or as a small side. The hand slip is a single-use or short-sequence tactile pause. Store leftover slip in a sealed container in the fridge for up to 48 hours, but always redo patch tests if you wait more than a few days before reusing. Safety, cautions, and when to avoid. A calm checklist. 1. Always cool liquids quickly and refrigerate within 2 hours. 2. Mandatory 24-hour skin patch test on the inner forearm before any topical use. 3. Fabric patch test for the hand slip. Mucilage can stain or leave a slippery residue. 4. Do not apply slip to broken or inflamed skin. 5. If you have known food allergies or sensitivities, perform a fingertip taste first for broth. Start with a tiny taste. Remember, these are culinary and sensory practices, not medical treatments. If you have questions about allergies, skin conditions, pregnancy, or nursing, consult a qualified provider. Work over protected surfaces. Use glass or stainless tools when possible, and rinse sticky spills promptly with warm soapy water. Small experimental amounts are a good rule. Less waste, fewer surprises. Segment 8. Reflection and encouragement. I love how these small projects invite us to pay attention to texture, smell, and the modest joy of rescuing a handful of pods. Try one tonight. Make the broth for a slow sip or tuck the jar of pickles into your fridge for tomorrow's lunch. If you tried the hand slip, notice the sensation on your fingertips and how a 2-minute pause can be surprisingly saccharine. This is not about perfection. It's about curiosity and care. You've got this. If you made any of these tonight, we'd love to hear from you. Send a photo or a voice note through our show notes link or DM us on our handle. Subscribe to Earthy Remedy so these small rituals find you in your kitchen. And before we go, listen to your body. Trust the earth. Feel the difference. Thank you for sharing this quiet kitchen hour with me. Until next time, be gentle with yourself and with your ingredients.